The WNBA champion recently addressed the media narratives surrounding Caitlyn Clark, downplaying claims of bullying against her during the WNBA season. From the moment Caitlyn Clark stepped onto the WNBA court, she has been thrust into the spotlight. The expectations were sky high, with many dubbing her the future face of the league, someone who would take the WNBA to new heights. Unsurprisingly, Caitlyn has met and even surpassed these expectations, earning recognition as one of the most exciting young stars in women's basketball. However, with such high praise came some friction. Several players seemed to take issue with Caitlyn's rapid rise to stardom, and it wasn't long before she found herself the target of aggressive plays and unsportsmanlike behavior. There were moments throughout the season where Caitlyn was targeted on the court, subjected to cheap shots and attempts to bully her. Yet despite these clear signs of disrespect, WNBA star Jonquel Jones, who led the New York Liberty to a championship title, dismissed claims that Caitlyn was being unfairly targeted. Jones, who knows a thing or two about pressure and competition, suggested that Caitlyn's rough treatment should actually be seen as a compliment, a sign of respect. According to Jones, whenever a new player enters the league and creates waves, it's expected that they'll receive tough challenges from their rivals. "It's a welcome to the league moment," Jones said. "It's our job to compete hard every night." And honestly, when you make it to the professional level, you're among a small percentage of people who have made it that far. Jones further emphasized that the narratives of bullying and unfair targeting were largely driven by the media. In her opinion, the WNBA players were just doing their job, playing hard against Caitlyn, who, with her meteoric rise and skill, had become a major threat. But things took a dramatic turn when Caitlyn received an aggressive hit from Chicago Sky's Chennedy Carter, who shoved her to the ground during a game. This wasn't some harmless encounter. It was a clear foul that was called during the match. What was even more troubling was that Carter, who had clearly taken issue with Caitlyn's presence on the court, refused to comment about the incident afterward, avoiding responsibility. The altercation was so intense that figures like Shannon Sharpe spoke out, criticizing the WNBA for allowing such behavior to go unpunished. Carter's incident wasn't the only one to raise eyebrows. Another altercation came from Sky player Angel Reese, who was involved in a controversial moment when she attempted to block Caitlyn, but instead struck her in the head. Initially called a personal foul, the play was later upgraded to a flagrant one after review. While it's not uncommon for fouls to occur in basketball, especially in a contact-heavy sport like the WNBA, many fans and analysts felt that Reese's actions were deliberate and meant to intimidate Caitlyn. Reese, however, denied any wrongdoing and maintained that she was simply going for the ball. In her post-game interview, Reese appeared frustrated, particularly with the media's portrayal of Caitlyn and the calls from referees that seemed to go in her favor. But despite the frustration from her rivals, Caitlyn stood strong. She didn't let these hits or the media's portrayal get to her instead. She kept focused on her game. Yet, as much as some players tried to rattle Caitlyn, she remained unshaken. Caitlyn was simply playing her game. It wasn't about crossing lines or sending messages through physical aggression, it was about competition. However, things did cross a line during a particular game when Della Don from the Chicago Sky lowered her shoulder and took a cheap shot at Caitlyn as she was making a fast break. Despite the obvious nature of the foul, Caitlyn continued to play with poise and resilience, showing that she would not let these attempts to intimidate her affect her performance. The most notable example of Caitlyn's unbreakable spirit came when she was targeted by Dijonai Carrington of the Indiana Fever. Carrington struck Caitlyn in the eye, causing immediate pain and forcing Caitlyn to briefly leave the court. Despite being hurt, Caitlyn returned to play, finishing the game with 8 assists and leading her team with a determined attitude. This incident sparked outrage among fans, many of whom believed Carrington's hit was intentional. Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy even took to social media, calling out the WNBA for not holding players accountable for such reckless actions. Despite all these setbacks and the physical challenges Caitlyn faced, Jonquel Jones still did not see anything wrong with how Caitlyn was being treated. Jones stated that hard competition was a sign of respect, suggesting that when opponents play tough against you, it's because they recognize your talent and the threat you pose. It's a sign of respect, as they are acknowledging your talent and the immense threat you pose to their team's success. Jones argued that tough competition is part of the game, and that players like Caitlyn should take these aggressive encounters as compliments rather than signs of animosity. This viewpoint may hold some validity in the context of high-level basketball, where physicality and hard-fought matchups are common, but for many fans, analysts, and even fellow players, the treatment Caitlyn received seemed to go far beyond the boundaries of fair competition. Many argued that the physical aggression aimed at Caitlyn had all the hallmarks of targeted bullying, with some players seeming to go out of their way to rattle her, perhaps out of jealousy or frustration over her meteoric rise to stardom. The regularity with which Caitlyn was the subject of dirty hits and borderline fouls led many to believe that there was a concerted effort to undermine her, both mentally and physically. In this context, Jones's comments felt dismissive to those who viewed the situation differently, and to those who believed that Caitlyn's treatment wasn't simply a consequence of her talent, but a deliberate attempt to push her out of her comfort zone. However, Caitlyn's ability to remain composed and focused in the face of such adversity only served to prove her mental strength and unwavering determination. Each rough encounter seemed to fuel her drive, pushing her to perform even better. It was clear that the physical challenges and attempts to break her down were not going to deter her. Instead, they were simply another layer of motivation to prove her worth in the league and silence any doubts about her resilience. As the season wore on, Caitlyn's accomplishments continued to pile up, solidifying her place in WNBA history. Not only was she named Rookie of the Year, but she also shattered records left and right. She became the first rookie in WNBA history to hit 100 three-pointers, achieving this remarkable feat in just 34 games. Her ability to hit long-range shots with such precision not only highlighted her skill, but also her ability to stretch defenses and change the dynamic of a game in an instant. The fact that she did it so quickly, surpassing some of the league's greatest shooters, underscored just how special her talent truly was. Caitlyn's achievements didn't stop there. She became the fastest player to hit 100 three-pointers in WNBA history, a testament to her remarkable shooting ability. In addition to that, she also became the youngest player ever to record consecutive double-doubles in points and assists, a stat that showcased her all-around game and playmaking ability. These milestones were just the tip of the iceberg. Caitlyn continued to break records, including setting the record for the most consecutive point-assist double-doubles by a rookie, further cementing her place as one of the most electrifying players the league had ever seen. Beyond the records, Caitlyn's growth was visible in the way she handled adversity and managed to elevate her teammates. She wasn't just a player focused on individual accolades. Caitlyn's ability to lead and make those around her better was a key factor in her rapid ascent. She turned every challenge, every hard foul, and every moment of doubt into fuel to become not just a star, but a leader and a force to be reckoned with. Her basketball IQ and poise under pressure stood out as she adjusted her game throughout the season, refining her skills and learning from every experience on the court. As the season progressed, Caitlyn continued to handle the physical and emotional challenges with grace. Rather than being broken by the aggressive treatment from some of her opponents, she used it as an opportunity to prove that she was not only capable of enduring it, but excelling in spite of it. Caitlyn's response to these challenges was a true reflection of her mental toughness, as she remained focused on the bigger picture and didn't allow the negativity around her to derail her journey. It was this unwavering focus and resilience that allowed her to continue to perform at an elite level, despite the adversity she faced. Caitlyn's story is not just about her basketball ability. It is a story of perseverance, grit, and mental toughness. It's about someone who, despite facing targeted aggression and constant pressure, stayed true to herself and her game. She didn't just rise to the occasion. She shattered expectations and redefined what it means to be a rookie in the WNBA. Caitlyn has not only established herself as one of the brightest young stars in the league, but has also set the stage for a new era in women's basketball, one where resilience and excellence go hand in hand.